Aha. Okay. So here we go. That's new. Thank you. Okay, so we're gonna be going from most, right? Number 1 to the right side is our least. So let's just say, for example, it tells me H is more popular than S. Okay. H being more popular, whatever is more popular is going to be on my left side. Okay. And whoever's least popular is going to be on my right side. So if H is more popular, then let's just say S, H on my left, S on my right. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. Okay, so go ahead, and this is our main setup before we input any rules, conditions, or any inferences. So I want you to start at our conditions and go through each one by one. And it's up to you whether or not you want to diagram it before jumping to the next rule, or if you'd like to just read off the rules to kind of gauge a sense of what's going on, that's fine too.
Okay. J and L are each less popular than H. So what I would do is, I know that J and L, since they're less popular, would be after, so H will be before.
Yes, perfect. So we got H with 2 little tree branches, right? JL, perfect.
And then L is more popular than Q. J is more popular than Q. So I know that J will go before Q. So I will connect J with Q. And then I guess I'll just do it after. S and B are each less popular than L. So L will come first and then S and then B.
Perfect.
Is that kind of like biconditional since it didn't say like which one had to come first?
Yeah, so biconditional means something a little bit different. That's a little bit more in terms of conditional logic, right? So what this means is that S or V, it doesn't matter if S is before V or V is before S, obviously, until we see more of the conditions. Yeah. But we just know that each of them have to be after L.
Oh, okay. P and S are each less popular than Q, so Q would come before P and S. And then S is not 7, so it will not go at the last one.
Yes. Perfect. So S not 7 with the little line. Okay, so the one that we can automatically put on our board is S cannot go 7th, right? Okay, so what I want you to practice doing is called not laws. I know we can chain them up, but I think it's important to understand where these can't go isolated as opposed to putting them in a giant chain together, because it will make more sense when we can push these rules together and then again continue to say where they can't go. Okay.
Yeah, that was the question.
Yeah. So H, J, and L. Let's start off with our first rule. Okay. We know H has to go before both J and L. So where can't H go on my main diagram?
H can't go based off of only the first one?
Yeah, only the first one. I want us to kind of take a little bit slower. So H, J, L, H has to be in front of at least 2 of these television programs.
I would say H can't go into 7.
Yes, perfect. And there's one more spot aside from 7 that it can't go in because it has 2 spots, 2 programs that have to be before.
2?
No, not 2, because at this moment we don't know if H can or cannot go in 2. And so we want to stay more on the back end of the game board. And so if it can't go in 7th, it also cannot go in 6th. And I want to show you why. If I put H in 6th, how many spaces are left on my board?
There's only the 5.
1. There's 7 left over.
Okay.
If I put H in 6, 6 comes right before 7. If I have 7 as my last spot to be filled in, J and L are going to be fighting for that spot, right?
Oh, yeah.
But I have to have both of them.
I read wrong, yeah.
No, it's okay. No, don't worry.
Okay.
Don't worry. So that's why H cannot go 6. For sure, at least with this isolated rule. So now we figured out the 2 spots, definitely from rule 1 where H can't go. So let's take a look at J and L, right? If J and L have to be after H, there's definitely for certain a spot that they can't go into. Where in the board would that be? 1 through 7.
I'm sorry, you said where they can't go, both of them?
Yeah, both of them, because they think about how the relationship is with J and L, right? They have to each be after H, right? So H has to come before them.
Well, I would say like towards the end, 6 and 7.
Well, for right now, from what we see in our rule, maybe H could be 5, right? Without looking at the rest of our rules. And J and L being 6, 7, that's okay. But where we know for sure J and L cannot go is first. What happens if I put J or L first?
There's no place to put H.
Yes, and that's why J and L cannot, either of them, go first. So whenever you see a rule where you have some game player in front of 1 or 2 or even 3 other players, ask yourself and say, okay, well, if I have someone coming before this person, that means they can never be front of the line.
Makes sense.
Yes. Same thing with the opposite, right? If they are first, or sorry, if they are in front of other people, they can't be last.
Yeah.
Okay.
Got it.
So now let's take a look at our next rule. J before Q.
Well, J is more popular than Q, so it can't be last, like we just said.
Yes.
And then
How about Q? Where can't Q go?
Q can't be first.
Perfect. All right, that's all we know so far. So let's move on to the next rule. We have L before S and B. So it's very similar to our first rule. So where can't L go?
L can't be last.
Yes, and there's one more spot. Think about how our first rule looks.
And it can't be first.
L could maybe go first.
S and B are
Right.
each less popular than. Oh, yeah. Oh, it can't be 6.
Yes, there you go. So you also count backwards, right? If it has 2 people after it, it definitely can't occupy the last 2 spots. If it has 3 people after it, it can't occupy that last 3 spots and so forth, okay?
Mm-hmm.
All right, so now we have L can't go there. Where can't S and B go?
It can't be first because it says S
Yes,
are each less popular than L. So
perfect.
they're gonna go on the right side.
Good, awesome. And now we have Q, P, S. Where can't Q go?
P and S are each less popular than Q. Well, I don't know if we said this already, but it can't be P and S are each less popular. I would say it can't be last because
Yes, Q cannot go last, right? Because it has 2 people after it, right?
yeah.
Where else can't Q go? We know it can't go first from our second rule, right? The JQ rule. We know it can't go last because it has 2 people after it, but where else can't Q go?
6 because it has 2.
Yes. So these are called not laws, and I know a lot of books teach them. I actually just learned the name of it technically, but I always think, okay, if I have ordering, for example, if I have someone in front of someone else or behind someone else, whatever the case is, they can't go certain places, right? And this is really important to keep track of because if you have, let's just say this was 6 people, right? And you have 5 people can't go in the first spot. 5 minus 6 means there's only 1 person that can go in that first spot, right? Which is really, really nice to keep track of because it just makes your setup for future game boards and answering questions a lot easier to make that deduction, right? These are inferences. And so if I were to see an answer choice that had Q and 6, I already know that's wrong because my not laws or where it can't go on my main board tells me it can't be there. Okay. Yeah, girl. Anything to make your life easier, especially with dealing with all these game players, it's really gonna help. And just building like this habit of repetition of implementing where they can't go, it's gonna save you a lot of time. Because also too, if you find yourself making a game board where you accidentally place Q and 6, just revert back to your main diagram, right? You don't want to touch your main diagram after it's already been set up, and just like say, oh, I missed something. I was going too fast. I caught myself. Because if you make this mistake and you don't catch it, it could really, be a downfall. Okay. All right. So what we're going to do is we're going to chain all of these together.
I think that's like my hardest part.
Yeah. And that's okay. It's not meant to be easy. And so we're going to tackle it on together. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to start off with our first rule. Why? Because we have in our second rule, they share J in common, right?
Mm-hmm.
So what we're going to do is write out H to J to L. Cool?
Yeah.
And then we're going to push together the second rule with the first rule. So we have J shared in common. And so what does our second rule say?
This is J is more popular than Q, so I would put J than Q.
Perfect. All right. So now let's take a look at our third rule. We have L, right? L is before S and V. But what letter does the third and fourth rule share? The L before S and V and Q before P and S.
S.
Yes. So we're going to have to be careful because we don't want to draw S twice. Okay. We don't want to confuse ourselves and think S is on the game twice, meaning there's 8 people for 7 spots. Okay. So we're going to have to push them together and make them a little bit organized so that it looks like they're only sharing S. So what we can do is Q, S, P, right? And then let me make this a little bigger. Okay. And then L shares S and V.
Okay, let me see what I just, H, then J, then L, then Q, and then, okay, so we just put S and then made the line longer.
Yes. Mm-hmm. So I realized if you can keep the line as straight as possible, like see here, PSV all come after something,
Mm-hmm.
right? That's a nice straight line, right? J and L coming after H is a nice straight line, right? So it helps to avoid making the mistake of writing S out twice just so that they can connect, because then, thinking too quickly, I could think S is, on the board twice.
Wait, so maybe I can't see, but where does V go?
V is all the way at the bottom. So I don't know. Let me
Oh yeah, I think it's my screen.
write this out real quick. So just hold what you have. I'm just going to make this a little bigger.
Okay. Okay, yeah.
Is that better?
Yeah.
Okay. Sorry. I think I was a little too close to the bottom.
Got
Okay.
it.
So then this is going to be our chain right here.
I think I got that somewhere after doing it like 20 times.
No, it's totally okay. The chain is like a very advanced technique because someone could just be like, oh, I'm just going to do it individually, right? But with so many shared letters in between rules, you can just piece them together.
Mm-hmm.
So it just takes practice. Don't worry. You have Law Hub, right?
Yes,
Okay.
I didn't get the extra one yet, but I do have it. I'll pay for it.
Okay. When you get the extra one, let me know, because I can also assign more relative ordering games, or they're called tree branching games, if you want to like call it that, which can help out because it's different, more problems just for you in the long run to keep practicing this technique.
Okay.
Which kind of sucks because the only 2 games that's it in this document. So I want to make sure you have more.
Okay.
Okay. So let's talk about, now that we've got this, put together, let's talk about our inferences. So let's take a look at line 7, right? Spot 7. we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 people who cannot go in 7th, right?
Mhm.
But how many people total are we dealing with here? 7, right?
Yes.
So who are the only 2 contenders then that could be in the 7th spot?
I would say P
Mm-hmm. Who else?
and V.
Yes. So this is going to be really helpful because all your worlds or questions or answers, 7th is always going to be either P or it's going to always be V.
Okay.
And that's just basic math, right? We have 7 minus 5, 2, and then just take a look and see who are the only 2 people, correct?
Yes.
Okay. So let's take a look at our main, our first one, right? Our first slot. We have J, L, Q, S, and V cannot go in first, right?
Yes.
But it looks like we missed someone.
That can go in first.
Yeah.
Oh well, P can't.
P can't. Perfect. So who then, if I have 6 people who cannot go first, who is my only person that can go first?
H.
Yes. Now that's not a rule that they told us, but this is an inference, which is super, super important. Right? So what's really important to take, mind of is that we have J and L, right? They have to also always be before, Q, P, S, V, right? In our
Mhm.
chain,
Yes.
right? So that's important to keep in mind is that who could be second? J and L.
And so when we already build the chain, like we can go solely off of that, right? Well,
Yeah.
not solely, but, like
Yeah,
in-
no, it really helps because if you ever find yourself being like, oh, I have, Q in front of J, right? Or
Mhm.
if, that's what the answer choice, the wrong one is saying, you can look back at your chain, you can see it visually that, hey, no, I have to have Q after J.
Okay.
Cool?
Yeah.
All right. So with this, we have enough information, 2 major inferences that H is first only, and that 7th is only P and V, right? We can go ahead, and if you want, we can go straight into the first question, to kind of just test what it is and reaffirm everything that we've done, okay?
All right.
All right. So number 1 says, which one of the following could be the order of the programs from most popular or least popular, which is, synonymous saying 1 through 7, right?
Mhm.
All right. So how do you approach these questions, Star?
Based off of whatever I guess inferences I came up from the conditions, I would look at the same way like I had which ones can be first and which ones can be last, and then I
Okay.
compare. So like I just go through it, and then like if I see that, let's say for one of the answer choices, if H was like in the last one, I would like cross check.
Eliminate it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Perfect. Okay, cool. So let's go ahead and do that. So let's start off with what we know is for sure on our game board. Who has to be first?
H. So I would take off
All right.
A.
Perfect. Goodbye. All right. Do we have a situation where P and V are not 7th and someone else is 7th?
Well, I didn't look at that first. I just looked at which one that, oh yeah, I guess we're saying the same thing. That is 7th, and I know that S can't be 7th.
Yes. There you go.
E.
All right. So that's what we know from our inferences, which really help us, Then you
Yeah.
can go ahead and take back at the rules or conditions or even your chain, if that helps.
Mhm. So and then the next thing that I would look at is if J and L is after H
Mm-hmm.
because of the first condition.
Yeah. So we're only now dealing with B, C, and D. And so with that first rule, is that satisfied with B, C, and D?
Yes.
Right. So we got to hop onto the next rule and see if there's any violations.
So where it says that J is more popular than Q, I know that J has to come before Q,
Yep.
and I think they all do. No, B doesn't.
B does not. B has Q before J, right?
Yes.
So if it helps start because you're doing untimed, I would, especially in these ordering questions where most of them are going to be wrong because of a violation from your rules given to you explicitly,
Mhm.
I would write down the reason why the answer is wrong to help you just get faster at noticing when it's incorrect, right? So in this case, we have H not first. That's a violation. Q before J. Okay. E has S seventh, right? Which we know cannot happen. And so that can help you again, just catch these things because it's very repetitive whenever you see these ordering questions.
Okay.
All right. So what's our next rule?
S and V are each less popular than L, so I know that L has to come before S and V.
Mm-hmm.
And so D is cannot.
Yes. Tell me why D can't be it.
D can't be because V came before L.
Yes, there you go. V before L can't happen. And so our correct answer is C. And what I would suggest, if you don't already, I would rewrite down the answer, right? Because you're 100% confident it is the answer. And that's just a freebie, what they call world, right? That they give you. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. HJQL. SVP. Okay. Cool.
Mhm.
All right. Did you get this question right or incorrect
Yeah.
when you did it?
This is the only one I got right.
No, that is
Which
okay.
is crazy because I thought that, getting the order right would help me in the rest of the questions, but I guess I just wasn't understanding what they were asking.
No worries. So let's go ahead and chop that down and let's figure it out together.
Okay.
All right. So we have number 1 is C. Okay. So number 2 says if J is more popular than L, let's stop right there. Okay. Whenever we see commas, periods, line breaks, we need to treat it as a separate sentence. So J more popular than L. How would I write that out?
J then L.
Yes. All right. Then it says, and S is more popular than B. So we got J before L and S before P, correct?
Yes.
Okay. Then which one of the answer choices must be true of the order or ranking? Okay. So we're looking for an answer choice that has to be 100% certain or true all the time.
Mhm.
Okay. If I have an answer choice, like let's just say P can go between 5 and 6, that's not 100% true.
And so
What
I
I'm
guess
looking,
I'm sorry. I guess my confusion is, so when we go to the next question, is our answer supposed to be based off of the conditions and our answer? Or
yes. So our worlds or our answer choices should always satisfy the rules.
Okay, got it.
Yes. And so what must be true, we're looking for something that's 100%. So if I have an answer choice and my diagram says that P can either go in 5 or 6, then it can flip-flop. It's not 100% certain, right?
Mhm.
But if my answer choice and I find out the setup says that P has to always be 6 in order to satisfy all the other rules, that then is 100%.
Got it.
Okay. So let's just draw out a world where we satisfy these two new conditions, right? J before L and S before P. Okay, so we know H has to go first. All right. And we have J before L. So going back to our main diagram and our main chain link, right? We have H, then stemming J and L, right?
Mhm.
The only two people that can go in spot 2 are J and L. And so if J comes before L, that means L can't be 2, right?
Yeah.
So who has to be there? J.
J. Yeah.
There you go. Okay. So then let's take a look at the rest of the chain. We have J has Q after it, but in this case, it also has L after it, right?
Yes. I was just trying to rewrite the chain again.
Oh, no, take your time.
Oh no, you're fine. Yeah, just so that when you're going back, I can already have it here.
Oh, yeah, no, sorry.
Okay, yeah. Sorry, what was your question again?
No, so we have that J, right? We know from our conditions that J comes before Q,
Mm-hmm.
right? But in this question, it's asking us to specifically put J in front of L, right?
Yes.
So J has to go in front of L and Q intuitively, right?
Yes.
So where would you like to put L in this situation?
I mean, I would put it in 3
All right, so we're gonna put in 3. Where would you like to put Q?
and 4.
Okay, and then we have S before P, and we know that P and V are the only ones that can go 7th, right?
Mm-hmm.
So how do you want to do 5, 6, and 7? You have S, P, and V.
Well, we know that S can't be 7, so
Mhm.
it has to either go on 5 or 6.
Yeah, so where do you want to put it?
5.
Okay, and then where do you want to put P and V?
B6, P7.
P6, V7?
P7, V6.
Oh, sorry. Okay. Alrighty. So let's talk about something real quick. This is called interchangeables, meaning that if I could put 2 of the programs in a spot, right, it still wouldn't mess up the rules. Let's take, for example, 6 and 7. We have V and P here, right?
Mm-hmm.
Could I also put P in 6 and V in 7 and everything would be fine?
Based off of our rule, yes.
So what you can do is called an interchangeable parentheses with a slash, meaning that I could put P in 6, V in 7th, or leave it as V6, P7, and everything's fine.
Mhm.
And then let's do another one. L and Q. Remember that in this case, they have to be after J.
Mhm.
Does it matter if I put L in 4 and Q in 3?
Based off the rules now.
No. So another one,
Okay.
right?
Would that be the same as putting like L/Q like in both?
Yeah. Yep. So it'd be the same as like this, like L, Q, Q, L. Yeah, same thing.
That just that makes it look a lot more neater, and you can keep track.
Yeah, cleaner, like less like stressful on the eyes.
Yeah.
For sure. Yeah. So everyone has their own nuances. I call them interchangeables because they can be interchanged within these spots, right?
Mhm.
So let's take a look then at what our answer choices are. And let's remember, we're looking for something that must be 100% true. Okay. If I have an answer choice that deals with V, P, L, or Q in these spots, it's not 100% true, right? Because L doesn't have to go in 3. L can go in 4. P can go in 6, doesn't have to go in 7. Does that make sense?
I'm actually a little lost because I thought we were looking for an answer that's 100% true. So if they can be interchangeable, how does that make it 100% true? Like the answer choice has to be either one of those. That's what you're saying.
It would have to, so the wrong answer would actually point out, let's just say, for example, it says P is 6.
Mhm.
Does your original drawing have P6?
From the answer.
No, the way that you set this up, remember you were like, I'm going to put L3, Q4, V6, P7, right? If I
Yeah.
have an answer choice that says P is 6, based on what you told me, does it have to be true?
Yes.
No.
But I thought.
The reason it doesn't have to be true is because we have V in 6.
Oh, okay. So I'm understanding it, but I'm explaining it wrong.
Yes, exactly. Yes, that's it is. So take it a little bit slower,
Okay.
right? So again, if the answer choice says P is 6, disprove that to me. Who else can go 6?
V.
Yeah. So if V can also go 6, it's not 100% true then that P is 6. We're looking for an answer choice that has to 100% be true.
Oh.
Right? What has to be true of H?
It has to be first.
That would be must be true because that's 100% true. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
There's nowhere else H can go. That's the difference here.
Okay, yeah.
That's why I put a box around it to tell me it is fixed, it is restricted, it must go there.
Mhm.
But with these interchangeables, with the slash and the parentheses, they can flip-flop. That's not 100% certain.
Mm.
It could happen, but it doesn't have to happen.
I guess that's why I was getting so tripped up, because I was having answer choices where it made sense, but
Yeah.
it wasn't 100% true.
Yes.
Like this
that's
here.
no, but that's important to think about, is the right answer is going to be 100% true. And then just think about your wrong answer, not 100% true.
Okay, yeah.
Meaning it could be impossible, right? Very extreme polar opposite where it is 0% chance of happening, or it's a 50-50 chance.
Mm-hmm.
But 0 and 50 is not the same as 100.
Yeah.
Cool?
Yep.
All right, so let's take a look at our answers. Sometimes we can go ahead and go off of one diagram, or sorry, one world, right? Based off what we did here. Sometimes that's enough to get us the right answer off the bat, but sometimes it may not always be. So let's just take a look. So does it have to be true of what A says, that J is second?
Yes.
Okay, yes. So we're gonna hold it, right? It's A, it's the first one. Let's take a look at the rest of the answer choices, but for right now, A is our, best contender.
I just want to clarify. So we know that J can be second based off of our diagram.
Yeah, in this question,
Okay,
right?
got it.
Because it's asking us specifically J before L.
Okay, got it, got it. Okay. And then J is third. But we know that J is more popular than L.
Yes. And J then has to come before L and Q in this situation, right?
Mm-hmm.
So that would then tell us J can't be third.
Based off our diagram. Okay, got it. It's because J has to come before Q.
Yes. And also too, take a look at the diagram you told me. Do you have J in third?
No.
No. So if you don't have J in third, but this is 100% like done, this world here, it's valid, right? No rules are broken, no
Mhm.
conditions are violated. This is a world. And it's valid. So if you don't have J in 3, that just tells us, hey, that doesn't have to be true. It actually is impossible, but it definitely doesn't have to be true because you have L or Q.
Mm.
So
'Cause
B is out.
the way I was approaching this was just like literally putting the answer choice where it says it is, and then trying to go by the rule.
Ah, okay, yes. If sometimes the last resort is testing, but if you can take the question and look at what it's asking for and push the rules together and draw things out beforehand, it's going to save you a lot of time because you can even find the right answer just by doing 1 or 2 of these worlds,
Yeah.
right? But if you're playing around, especially in this case, 4 of these answers are not going to be 100% true. It's going to create a lot of scenarios where it's just time consuming and ultimately confusing.
Yes. Agreed.
Yeah, girl.
So that's why I was like, this makes more sense of how you got to like this initial diagram for the second question,
Yes.
and we can go through it. That's where I was kind of missing, because I wasn't understanding how J is more popular, like that whole
Yeah.
based off of what we had got on the first question.
No, for sure. Because also too, going back to our main world, our main diagram rather, right? We have H has to be first. We know that either J or L comes after it, but
Mhm.
J and L have so many people behind it that in this case, we know the only contenders then for second are either J or L.
Yeah.
And in this question, it's saying, hey, J comes before L. Well, that freaking means for sure L can't be second.
Yeah,
So forces J into 2.
makes sense.
Cool. All right. So talk about C. Does L being third have to be 100% true?
No, it's like a 50-50.
Yes. It could also go in fourth, right?
Mm-hmm.
Perfect. So it's out.
And you see, I guess that's why, like, I'm like, oh, it can be. So I kept it as an
Yeah.
F.
But you're saying
It
it
has to
can
be
be.
100%.
Yeah, because the language is different. This is saying must be, right? And you're saying, oh, it can be. Can and must, especially in LR, you'll see this a lot. Different degrees of strength.
Yeah.
Can is possible, must is certain.
Yes. Got it. So C is out. Q is third. We know that Q can't be third because, well, it can. It can.
Yeah, but where else can it be?
Fourth.
Yes, so that's enough to tell you it doesn't have to be true.
And then P is seventh. We know that S is more popular than P. P has to be seventh.
Take a look at our
Oh,
route.
it can also be 6.
It could also be 6th. Yes.
God dang it.
So then take a look at A. What does A say? That J has to be second, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's
And
the only place it can go.
That's true.
So must be true, 100%. Synonyms only. Has to. Right?
Yeah.
Must. Always. You can change it to however you want when you're answering it, but these synonyms are the same way of saying what must be true, what's 100%.
That makes a lot more sense.
Good. No, I'm glad. No, I'm really, really glad. And it just takes practice. Like, even I found myself at a point where I was getting like consistently no wrong on games, right? Like out of the 4 sections doing time. And then I found myself skimming and glossing over these words: can, must, cannot. And yeah, I read it, like my eyes worked, but my brain was going too fast. And so I taught myself to slow myself down and ask myself, what is it really asking me to do? Right? Because I would be in the same situation, forget what I'm doing, and then literally be stuck on a question that I know I could have gotten right had I just, read between the lines more carefully.
Yeah, because my last 2 choices were E and A, but because I was going to the first one and I was like, oh yeah, P is here, like it can be here, but it's like it can also be in B.
Yes, and that's the nuance that they're testing you on, right?
Yeah.
Like certainty versus possibilities.
True. So true.
They're tricky, man. They know people. I'm telling you, they're not writers. They're not English majors. They're like psychiatrists, I swear. Like, they're crazy.
Oh my gosh. And then it makes me look at the third question more, like, because now it's saying not like, okay, like it's a possibility. It can, it's like it can't.
Yeah, exactly. Cannot, right? Like it's impossible. Exactly. But I have found that doing the questions in a certain order makes it a lot easier in terms of answering these global which questions. So I like to tell my students, and obviously it's up to your discretion, but I have found that it's worked in terms of helping them focus and practice pushing the rules together before jumping into these, which one the following cannot be true, which one the following can be true, which one the following must be true. Because sometimes that can be a time sinker if they don't have enough practice pushing the worlds together and pushing the rules together. So I tell a lot of my students, the first question you should do, if it's there, is the could be true ordering, which we saw in number 1. Right? It says which one of the following could be the order. Okay. Then I tell my students, do the if question second. So if so-and-so is before blah, 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 then which one of the following, right? Those are if questions, because like we just saw, it's giving you a scenario where you have to implement this rule, right? J before L, but then still conform to the other rules given in the first, before you even tackle the questions. Then when you get rid of all the if questions and you answer them, or even if you leave one, at the end because it's taking a long time, not a big deal. But I would say go through the if questions, as many as you can, before you get to the which questions, which is like what number 3 looks like. Which one of the following cannot be ranked third? If we have 4 questions answered, for example, of if, we can find a pattern where maybe, let's just say, for example, L, J, Q, and V are third, right? That tells us that, hey, we can get rid of A through D, and we can see that P can't go third without having to test each single one and waste time. Because if we do these if questions first, we may just get this answer before even getting to this question.
So you literally mean like all the if questions?
Yeah. So like which are the if questions here? We have 2, 4, and 5.
Yeah, that's a large chunk.
It is a large chunk, but it can help us save time by getting to the third question by having enough, worlds or questions answered where we like, oh, I know for sure these can be third because I have proof. I have valid worlds.
Okay.
And then the fourth one, I would say do last are these types. The rule sub, where it gives you a prompt where it says, which one of the following, if substituted for one of the original rules, yada, 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 would still, uphold all the conditions, right? Whatever. That's like a fairly loose description of what it would look like, but it would always say pretty much substitute or replace, right? Synonyms. Then you have the maximum/minimum questions. It says, how many maximum spaces are between, I don't know, H and V, right? What is the number? And it could be max 6, right? Depending on what your previous worlds look like. If you need to draw any more out, you can do it. But for the most part, all of your diagrams up to this point, including here, 1 through 3, they can really help you out with the maximum and minimum questions. And then the if determined questions, you treat these like a must be true as well. But the language can be a little confusing. Thankfully, we don't have any of number 4, the categories of number 4 here. But if you ever encounter this order, I would say do could be true ordering if it's there. If it's not, you jump straight to the if questions. Okay. Finish the if questions, jump to the which questions, and then tackle category 4 last. Cool.
Yeah, I'm gonna try it.
Yeah, try it. Honestly, it really works, and I found myself saving a lot of time doing it, and it just made me more intuitive with getting worlds and pushing rules together and seeing how they all kind of relate from one another, which is really important.
Yeah.
All right, so we got number 2 down. We wrote it here. Let's take a look at number 4. So can you read number 4 for me, please, Star?
If V is more popular than Q, so I would put V than Q.
Yep.
And J is less popular than L, so L than J.
Yep.
Then which of the following could be true? So this is not like must be true.
Yeah, exactly, right? This can happen, exactly. So we have these 2 scenarios. Let's draw out a world. 1, 2, 3. All right, and let's take a look at our main diagram. Who has to be first?
H.
So we're gonna put H with a box around it because it's fixed.
I'm gonna start doing that too, because I think that
no, circle. Okay, so circle means it doesn't have to go there, it's flexible. Square means it is boxed inside, trapped, right? It cannot move.
Okay.
All right, perfect. So we know H has to go there. Looking at spot number 2, right? We know from our main diagram, either J or L has to be second. But with this question, where does L have to go?
L has to be before J.
Yes. And so if L and J are the only ones that can go second, what does that mean for L? Where does L have to go?
Second.
Yes. box. Perfect. Cool. All right, now let's take a look at V before Q. From our main diagram, who is on 7th?
Okay, so that's why I'm a little confused. Well, I'm trying to keep it within the lines, like you said, from the diagram.
So this is our main diagram here where we have all of the crossing out, right?
Sorry, I don't know where you're pointing.
Oh, I jumped back to my first slide. This is the main diagram.
Okay, yeah.
So this is your main diagram where we have H in a box.
Oh, okay, got it. Oh, so you're asking who has to be last? P?
Yeah, so who are the only two people that can go last from our main
P and
diagram?
V. Oh, sorry.
P and V. But what does our question ask us to figure out about V? It comes before Q, right?
Mm-hmm.
So can V be 7th in this case?
No, because it has to come before another.
Yes. So if V can't go 7th, who is forced into 7th then?
P, Q. What? Sorry.
No, it's P.
Yeah.
You said it. You had it.
I was like, wait, hold on. What am I?
No,
Yeah.
girl, you're good, right? Because from our main diagram, P or V are the only two.
Okay.
In this situation, like you said, V can't go last because it has to be before Q.
Mm-hmm.
So from our main diagram, get rid of the only other contender. You're forced then to only have P in there.
Okay, so that's where I was, because it said could be true. I was thinking, okay, P or V can be there, but based off of what the question is saying, V can't go there.
Yeah, exactly. And so if it helps, draw V with the slash through it to help you remind yourself, hey, do not put V in 7.
Mhm.
Right? Second here, do not put J. That can help.
Yeah, definitely.
All right. So now let's take a look and let's do some diagramming. Let's think about what could happen, right? Okay. So we know that L has to come before J, right? We know then that J has to come before Q. So in this situation, you have to have Q after V and J, right?
Mm-hmm.
So could I put Q in 3rd in this situation?
No, because V and J will have to be before it.
Exactly. Could I put Q in 4?
No.
Nope, exactly. So the only 2 spots it looks like Q can go in is 5 or 6, right?
Yes.
Okay, so tell me who you would like to put in 3rd and 4th. Would you like to put J or V there?
I would say J and 3, V and 4.
Okay, cool. And then let's take a look at our main diagram. We have to have Q before S and P, right? From our chain link.
Yes. Before S. Yes.
All right, so Q has to be before S in this case. So Q has to go where?
5
Yes. Meaning S has to go where?
and 6.
Yes. Perfect. Now let's talk about, we know who's fixed. Let's talk about where they could go, right? J and V. They're the only ones not boxed, right?
Yes.
Do they have to be in their assigned spots where we have them, or could they go and flip-flop?
I think they could be interchangeable.
Yes, there you go.
Like okay, so I'm going with you and saying it, but I'm trying to understand. Like I get it, but I guess I'm not understanding why.
Okay. So, because you did a really great job. Just
Yeah,
explain it to me. That's
yeah,
the thing.
that's what
I'm
I'm
like,
saying.
wait, what do you mean?
I
Because
don't
you did
understand.
such a good
Like
job.
I know, like I get it, but then I guess I'm just second guessing myself.
I think it's second guessing because you're saying it with a lot of confidence and you're being solid in referring back to what it is that we know from our main diagram and also our chain.
Okay.
So I don't think it's that you don't understand it. I think you just need to be a little bit more confident and secure with your answers because they're right.
I guess the more games I do, then that's how
Yes, the
confidence
more games
comes.
you do, the more the confidence will build with the more practice. And I don't want you to think about confidence equals speed right now. Confidence means you understand how especially the rules play in with one another. And speed will come as you understand more and more, as you're able to pick up on the nuances. Oh, well, this must go here. This can't go here, right? These things could go here. And that's just going to come with more practice. And then you'll see that with more and more practice and understanding, right, the differences between where they can and can't go, how they can move around to one another, whether it would violate or not violate another rule, you'll be able to then gain speed because your accuracy will be much higher.
Makes sense.
Yeah. So for right now, I would say, I usually tell people accuracy over speed. I would say understand, then comes accuracy, and then comes speed.
Okay.
Okay, because girl, you did this like perfect.
Yeah.
No, for real.
Just gotta understand why.
Yeah. So just take it slow. So we're
Okay.
looking for number 4 is asking us which one of the following could be true of the ranking, given that we know V is before Q and L is before J, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so let's go ahead and let's take a look at these answers one by one and ask ourselves, could this happen looking at what we've drawn out here? Because this is a valid world again.
Yeah. So for A, P is more popular than S. We'll say that's not true because S has in front of P. S
Perfect.
is more popular than V. That's not true because V is before S.
Perfect. Yes.
Then for C, P is more popular than L. We know that P has to be last. So.
Yes.
And then for D, J is more popular than V. Well, they can be like interchangeable.
Yeah. So we could have J in 3, meaning it's more popular than V, right? In 4.
Yeah.
So we're gonna hold that right now. We're gonna put a little dot on the side.
Okay. And then Q is more popular than V. Well, we know that Q has to be after V.
Yeah. So what's our answer?
Oh man, it's D.
Yeah, and you did that perfectly. The 4 wrong answers are going to be things that cannot happen. X.
Yeah.
And you can put a giant check mark for the one that could be true.
I guess it's just getting to the world.
Yeah.
I spend so much time, like, I guess, going through the answer choices and putting it where it can be. It's like how you said, like, if I can come up with that beforehand, it'll be easier to go through it and see why.
Yeah. No, definitely. Because the thing is, like we talked about before, if you're putting in these wrong answers, right? You could be forgetting or glossing over a rule and making that world fit only because you're hopeful it's the answer.
Yeah.
Right? It's psychology. Like we
Yeah.
want to give it a fighting chance, but in reality, we got to be like cutthroat. We got to be like, either you're right or you're wrong, right? There's no gray area in between. And like you did here, A, B, C, and E, they are 100% wrong. And you gave a reason why. And if you can give a reason why, then that means you know it.
Yeah.
So I'm very proud of you. Good job.
Thanks. Yeah, that one felt. I guess
that one felt good to me. I hope it felt good.
Yeah, it did. It really did. I feel like it helped to do too. So yeah. Okay.
So let's do number 5. We got one more if question, which is going to help us again push these worlds together. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So read number 5 for me.
If Q is more popular than L, which means Q than L, then each of the following must be true of the rank except.
Okay, so we got an except question. So before we tackle on that except aspect, let's take a look at this if rule. Okay, saying Q comes before L. All right, what else do we know about Q from our conditions in the very beginning?
We know that it comes after H.
And who else?
And J.
Yeah, so wouldn't it look like this? Okay, so we're gonna plug it in a world, okay?
Wow. It's just like when you say it out loud, it just makes more sense. But when I read it, it's just like,
No. I'm glad we're doing this because this took me a long time on my own. And I wish I kind of like worked with someone one-on-one as opposed because I was just doing the Logic Inc. books, right? And so a lot of it was trial and error. And girl, if I just threw out my binder about a month ago, if I kept my 3 binders and shown you the dumb mistakes that I made, a lot of it was just reading. Like I just felt like I couldn't read properly. I would have saved myself so much time by just working with someone one-on-one. And so the fact that you're like here right now and you're doing it and you're saying it right, and I'm here to like affirm or like, you know, we
yeah.
can talk about it, it's just going to help you, which is
I
going to put you in a
appreciate-
much better position.
Yeah, you pushing me to even go over this is like super helpful for like,
Yeah,
even
girl.
I went through and I got, you know, most of them right, but to go back for those other ones, I'll know now.
Yeah,
So,
no, for sure. And if you want to, is why I know it can kind of push it back a little, but I'd rather again have you understand like even like the first chapter over again, right?
Yeah.
And then move on to the next one as you're ready, because it's just gonna help you like ground yourself in the core and the basics.
Yeah, because if I was making mistakes and then just moving forward, I'm gonna keep making the same.
You're gonna build the bad habits.
Yeah.
Right. We gotta nip those bad habits in the bud right now, for sure.
Yeah, you're doing that.
I got you, babe. All right. So H is number 1. We know that from our inferences. So who has to be number 2 then?
J.
Perfect. Okay. And then let's put Q in 3, L in 4, right? For right now. Cool?
Yes.
And we're going to stop right here. So I'm going to put a hard line in between 4 to 5. Okay. So we're looking for which answer choice is the exception to a must be true. So what this means is that typically my one right answer would be 100% true, right? But when we have an except, it means that your 4 wrong answers are 100% true. So you can say your 4 versus your 1 right answer. So when I see an answer choice and I'm like, oh yeah, H must be in 1, that's a must be true, right? So it's wrong in this case because I'm looking for the exception.
Well, that's false.
Yes, exactly. The one that doesn't have to be 100% true or is impossible.
Okay.
Remember, if you put not 100% true, it can range from 0% being correct to 50-50.
Okay.
So let's draw out the latter half of 5, 6, and 7. Right? So we know that P and V are the only ones who can go 6 on 7, right? Okay. So who do you want to put there, P or V?
P.
Okay. Who would you like to put 5 or 6?
6 is V.
Okay. And then we'll put S here. Okay. All right. Let's think about another scenario. Okay. So we'll draw a little line like this. Let's try V in 7th. Okay.
Okay.
How about we try P in 6 and S in 5, right?
Okay.
Now, could I have star S in 6 and everything still be okay?
Based off of the rules or our first?
Yeah, based off of the rules.
Yes.
Yeah, so let's try it. If I have S in 6, where would you like to put V and P then? Either 5 or 7.
V in 5, P in 7.
Yeah. Do you see how there's a lot of possibilities in terms of 5, 6, and 7?
Yes.
So I think my answer, because it's an accept question, will probably lean on how these can change up. Does that make sense?
Yes, because we're looking for ones that have to be 100%.
Yeah,
true.
those are my wrong answers. Exactly.
Got it.
Cool. So
Yeah.
let's take a look then at our answer choices. So each of the following must be true of the ranking except. Oh my God, H is first. I honestly didn't even look at the answer choices, but I just
Yeah.
I've done this enough. So doesn't it have to be true that H is first?
Yes.
Okay. Oh, let's put our boxes. We know that J has to go second, Q third, and L fourth, right?
That is so helpful.
Yeah. No, seriously. All right. Does it have to be true that L is 4?
No. Yes, sorry. I'm
It
looking at
does. So
yeah.
it's our wrong answer. And if it helps, you can write MBT, because
Yeah.
remember, we're looking for the exception.
Yeah.
All right, C.
P is not fourth.
Does that have to be true?
Yes.
Yes. Must be true. J is not third.
Well, that doesn't have to be true. Well, J is not third. Oh, yes, that must be true. 'Cause
Yes.
J is second.
Okay.
And then Q is third.
Oh, that must be true too. Okay, so
I was like, oh no.
that's okay. All right, so let's do it again. And let's take a look then at our main diagram.
Oh.
Okay. So let's draw another world out, because this world will probably show that what we have above, we may have to just tweak it a little. Okay. Okay. So we know H here, J second for sure. And then we have Q before L. Okay. Okay, then we have PSV. PSV. I figured it out. Okay. Haha. So we know Q has to be third. Okay, Q. Okay, so this is actually a good one. This is a good lesson. So Q, right, is before L,
Mhm.
right? Let's just branch this off. We have Q before L. Who else is Q before from our main diagram?
J.
No, J is before Q.
Wait.
Who else is Q? Who else is Q before?
Oh. Oh, from the main diagram?
Mm-hmm. From our chain link.
Q is before P and S.
Yes. Okay. So P and S. And then L is before S and V, right?
Mhm.
Okay. Okay, so what this means is that L doesn't have to go fourth, but P could go fourth. And I'm going to show you why. P can go fourth. Q could go, L can go fifth. S can go sixth, and V can go seventh. The reason why is because, do you see how P and L, looking at this here in purple that I'm circling, do you see how P and L aren't connected,
Mhm.
but rather they come each after Q?
L comes after Q?
In this world, right? In this,
Oh.
in number 5, it's saying Q is more popular than L,
Oh, yes, yeah.
right? So what that means is you can have a situation where, yeah, L is 4, right? And then you have 5, 6, and 7 playing off of one another. But P, as long as it's after Q, right, and L is after Q, that means P could go in front of L in this situation.
Okay.
As long as Q has P, L, S, and V after it, which it does, I'm going to do a break in between 3 and 4.
Mm-hmm.
It does have these 4 after it. S is not 7th. That's fine, right?
Oh, yeah,
Everything is satisfied.
I get it.
So this is a good one, because if you isolate what's going on from HJ and you separate that and break it off, you see that Q has to have 4 programs after it.
All right, so just going back from the beginning, the question says Q is more popular than L. So since we know we were going off the first stimulus that H has to be first,
Mhm.
J has to be second, and Q has to be third. Why
Yes.
doesn't O have to be fourth anymore? I know we said that Q has to come before P, but why doesn't?
So in this case, if you take HJQ as is, right? 1, 2, 3. Given what we know from our previous conditions, right, that we have from our main setup, and implementing this Q before L, you have Q is now before P, L, and S, right? And we know L is before V and S.
Oh, okay, got it.
So again, it's ultimately creating a chain.
Okay.
But regardless, Q has to be in front of P, L, S, and V.
Okay.
The only thing is that Q doesn't connect P and L together. So P could come before L, or L could come before P.
Okay.
And we see that here in these 2 diagrams. So we have this one in bracketed in red, number 1, and this here bracketed in red in 2. And you see how HJQ for both of them are the same.
Mm-hmm.
The difference is that 4, right? If I put L in 4, it sets off the 5, 6, 7 interchangeable chain. But if I put P in 4, I have L 5th, S 6th, because it can't go 7th, and V 7th.
Mm. Okay.
This one is definitely the trickiest one, because it asks you to test, do you understand that P and L, they can come before or after each other? As long as they're after Q, it's fine.
Yeah, okay. I guess that was where I was confused at.
Yeah, no, I didn't even pick that up either. But sometimes if you just isolate it in terms of, hey, I know HJQ, it's got to be the first 3, then ask yourself, Q, yeah, in this case, it has to be before L. But going back to your main, right, diagram, your chain, you see that Q has P and S after it, for sure.
It does, yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
All right, so we know it has to be true that H is first, so that's out. Okay, L is 4th. That doesn't have to be 100% true, right?
Mm-mm.
So we're going to put a little dot. V is not 4th. Well, that must be true. D says J is not 3rd. Who has to be 3rd here?
Q.
Yep, so D is 100% true, so that's out. And E says Q is 3rd. That's true, right?
Mm-hmm.
And that's why B is our answer. L does not have to be 4th. L could be 4. L could be 5th.
Oh.
Yeah, that's the exception.
Got it.
Yeah.
Yeah, that one was tricky. I'm gonna have to listen to that one again later. When
Yeah,
you said-
you're like, on repeat in your dreams. No, it's okay. Okay, but now let's head back to the which question. Okay, and I'm going to show you how I would tackle this together. So we have, let me just do a little break here. Number 5 was, what did we say 5 was? B?
Yeah, LS4.
All right. So this is number 3. So we're looking for which one of the following cannot be third. Okay, so who can't be third? All right. Let's just make a little list from what we've have drawn out from all of our answers and our worlds of who can be third. Okay.
Okay.
So 3 equals, let's go to our first one, right? From our first question, we know that Q can be third, right? Okay. So Q is a possibility to be third. Looking at our second world, we had L or Q could be third, right?
Mm-hmm.
So L could be third. So I'm going to write that in my list. Let's go to our next world. All right. I have J or V could be third, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I'm going to write down V could be third. And
J.
that's it.
Oh, wait. So J can't go there?
Do we have J? Oh, no, I didn't. Thank you. All right. So these are my 4 possibilities, which are probably going to be my wrong answers. So let's take a look and see. On my list, do I have A, L? Can that be third?
Yes.
All right. So it's out.
That's why I wasn't there. Okay, got it.
Yes. Can J be third?
Yes.
Yep. Can Q be third?
Yes.
Can V be third?
Yes.
And that's why E is our answer.
Oh, wow.
Yes.
That's okay. So we can
not
use other choices.
Yeah.
But I'm definitely gonna try that new way of answering the questions.
Yeah, dude, it could seriously help for sure. Like, and then I would just write my answers to the side like this and just, double check them. CAETB. There you go.
Okay. That was helpful.
Yes. So let me stop recording or stop sharing and let me stop recording.
Then I just want to make sure, because you said I know to do this could be true first. So with the first question, it wouldn't be considered a could be true. It's a which. So I wouldn't do that first.
No, you want to do the first one first because it says which one of the following could be the order.
Oh, okay, got it.
Yes, could be the order. It could say could be the sequence, something that is very synonymous to like what order says, and as long as it says could be, that's an ordering question. So you want to answer those first.
Got it.
And then your if questions, but stay conformed to your original rules, right? Just because it's giving you, if this is happening, right, doesn't mean just stray away from the original conditions. And then you want to do your which questions after, which is like what we just did now, using your previous answers that you have gotten correct or your worlds, even if it helped you eliminate some of the wrong answers, right? They're all valid. And so you want to use that to your advantage. And then those, the last set would be like the rule sub, the maximum and minimum questions, the determining questions, weird off ones like that. Because the reason why is they're time sinks and you want to get as many points as you can beforehand rather than just be like, oh, I'm gonna do this question because like it's a question. No, be strategic about it, right? And grab the points. If you can get, even right now, like as close to perfect accuracy as you can with more practice, and you may not always be getting those rule sub maximum questions right, that's okay, because in the long run your accuracy percentage wise is really good.
Okay.
Cool.
Yeah, that was super
Yes,
helpful.
girl. I'm glad. Let me
Yeah.
turn this off. I'm gonna